Let's get started. So for those of you that are new to She, welcome. She is about, just to let you all, for a reminder for everyone or those that are new, she's about helping women to become successful business owners and entrepreneurs. And that's exactly what we're doing on this free webinar today. And guess what? In 2022, not that far away, we are going to be having live webinars coming back. Yes, live webinars, face-to-face events are back on our radar. So COVID, obviously, allowing us, but we're planning those. We're planning some face-to-face events where we connect and support each other for 2022. And guess what? There's some speakers with us today that are going to be part of our lineup for 2022 face-to-face events. And I'm going to introduce them today as well to you at the end of the webinar. So that's something pretty exciting as well. Okay, but let's get on to today. So today is all about marketing, helping you doing it better, eh? So look, we got some really good feedback from you of some questions that you would just like us to mention. So we're going to talk about those questions that came through. I'm going to ask some and the Energize team will answer some as well. But just to give us a little bit of scope and to help us so we can integrate and you get the most out of the session and we can integrate our answers to help you, can you just put no more than 2 or 3 words, the marketing challenge you face today? So your marketing challenge that you face today, just in the chat box. So it could be, lead generation. It could be getting out my first newsletter. That's more than 3 words. Whatever it is, time and consistency. Fantastic. Thanks, Karen. Just any of these things that are going to help us. So when we're actually getting in the media, fantastic. Okay. So we can actually, what we can do is we can actually take what you're saying and we can actually integrate it with some of our answers. Getting anyone to reply to my lead generation activities, getting the right audience. So these aren't unusual problems, guys. These are very, very, very usual. Doing it all by myself. I feel that pain. Helen. I feel that pain. So Okay, thank you, guys. We're going to see if we can integrate this into some of the questions that you've already asked us. So before we start, I just want to introduce you to the panel that's going to answer some of your questions. So first of all, these are obviously my Energize team, and they do really great work for me so much so I can do stuff like She. I can do my passion projects like She because I can leave it in their good hands. So look, I just want to introduce you to them, and they're going to be answering questions just like I am right throughout today. So first of all, Renee, put your hands up, Renee. There we go, there's Renee. So Renee is she does all the paid advertising. So Renee does everything to do with digital paid advertising. I'm talking about Google, I'm talking about Facebook, I'm talking about Instagram, I'm talking about LinkedIn. So she does all the paid stuff. And she measures all the metrics and tell you how well you've done, what you need to do, and where you need to go. Is that right, Renee?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Next we have Hayley.
Hi.
Okay. So Hayley is our content queen. She is our content queen. She does, so words. That's Hayley. So she does a lot of writing. She does, if you've ever received a newsletter from Energize, she writes all those. She writes the copy on our website. And she's a particular expert in LinkedIn. So she kind of advises our clients around LinkedIn when they get a little bit stuck. So that's Hayley. And lastly, we have Holly. Where's Holly?
Hi.
So Holly kind of reduces the average age of our Energizers by about half. So we actually call Holly our princess. So she's our social media princess. No one's surprised at that a 20-something is a social media princess, right? So she's our expert in Facebook and Instagram. And, if it touches you, she's the TikTok queen. So there you go. She covers all those. You would have seen her work because she does all the she marketing. So you would have already seen some of her work. So that's the team, guys. We're going to start with your questions. Now, if something comes up through a session and you think, God, I wish I'd actually asked that question, stick it in the chat box and we'll capture it. And we'll have time at the end to go back and actually answer it. So don't stay stuck. Part of this whole thing is do not stay stuck. We're here to make your marketing easy. So get on that chat box if you think, oh, wow, this is your time. This is kind of, debusting and debunking all those myths about marketing and making you better, at marketing for what you do every day. Okay, so I'm going to start on my first question, okay? So the first question that came to me was, why does nothing I try in marketing ever work? I am disillusioned and over it. Okay, well, that's like the valley of death, isn't it? That's like a valley of death question. Look, I don't often like to sort of dwell on the number of things that potentially aren't doing well, but I am for this because this is probably going to be the quicker way to actually handle this very sad question. Okay, so get pen and paper because I want you to write down 3 things. Okay, I want you to write down customer. I want you to write down leave a gap. The next thing I want you to write down is competition. The next thing I want you to write down is you, meaning you that's fronting up here today, okay? Because the reality is these are all the things that aren't working. These are the things. Things in marketing aren't supposed to be that hard. They work when a whole bunch of things come together. That's when they work. They work the best when a whole bunch of things come together. So I'm going to just dissect them, but I just want, dissect them each. But again, they all need to kind of be in synergy. Look, I find that often marketing won't work because you don't know enough about the person you're trying to attract. So I find them, like you can tell me how old they are, and you can tell me whether they're a male or a female, and you can probably tell me where you think they. I don't care about any of that. It doesn't matter. Digital is a global world anyway. It doesn't really matter. More so, what matters is how they think and how they.
Is that my internet or is Rosina gone?
What you sell solves a problem, because believe me, as a marketer, you are a problem solver. You are an absolute problem solver. And so you've just got to make sure that the problems that you're solving are to the people that need you most. Okay? And so it is understanding those things below the surface, inside the head and inside the heart. Think about the head and the heart. Okay, and understanding what is it, because you're providing a solution to a problem. So go find out whether their problem is one that you can actually solve. Okay, and perhaps perhaps they need to be in another place to kind of work out. They need to be warmed up to be able to buy from you. Remember, a lot of the time here I find is that we rush the sale. Well, at the end of the day, guys, you're building a relationship often. And people want to buy from people that they know and trust. So it's not good enough to sort of wake up and go, oh, hi, I'm Rosanna, have I got the deal for you? Now, we don't often do that, but mentally, I think we think that's what we should be doing, or how we present ourselves on and especially in a digital way. So what I want to make sure that you do is you need to go duck shooting where the ducks are. That's another thing. Go shooting where the ducks are. Don't be on channels where the people whose problems you're solving aren't on. So don't go on Facebook if they're not there. Don't go on Insta if they're not there. You know, your target market may be on radio. I've got no idea. One of the ways to go find this out, guys, because you're sitting there probably going, how the heck do I find this out? Okay, I give you one simple secret. You ask them. That's what you do. You ask them. Now, some of you would have had an interview with me over the last month where I said to you, can I have a half an hour of your time? And I can see some heads shaking. The questions that I asked you was because I didn't feel that I knew the she audience well enough. So I went and asked them. And I asked you about your businesses. And I asked you about your challenges. And I asked you about some of your pain points. And I asked you what success looked like. And I asked you, what would it take for you to buy this, etc., etc. It was 30 minutes of time. And within 7 interviews, I found out where I had gone wrong. So that's free, guys. I actually paid for my time because you're all busy people, or donated it to a charity. Women's Refuge is our charity of choice. But you get the answers starting there. So do it. Go do it. Send an email out. Go ask them and make sure that you're duck shooting where the ducks are and that you're talking to people that, and somewhere along the line, I realized too in my interviews that some of the things that I was selling, you didn't want to buy. And so why continue? Go find your tribe. Go find your tribe. Remember, the other thing around it is you can ask them about competition. So often I hear people say, oh, that's not my competition, because they're X, Y, Z. Well, there's a big thing about perception and reality, and people perceive your competition quite different from yours. Okay, so ask when you're doing these interviews who they think you compete against and what they think of the competition. When I was doing my interviews, I thought a lot of our competition came from Facebook groups. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. Didn't even. So I was actually barking up the wrong tree. Okay. And then when you do find who your competition is, ask a single, question is, what are the things that are better than ours and what are the things that are worse than ours? And be brave about that and stand by for the answer. Okay, but just do it with a real clear lens, not with a tainted perception. My other one, so that is customers, competition. My last one here is you. So what I see a lot of is I see a lot of marketing activity that is soulless, absolutely soulless, and could be written by anyone. And it's just beige. It lacks any personality, any soul, or any of those things. And I keep reaffirming to you, only you can be you. Only you can be you. And before people buy any of your products, services, or whatever, they've got to fall in love with you, or they've got to like you. So start thinking about what makes you unique. Start thinking about, and if you've lost your way totally, go to your oldest friend and get them to describe you in 3 words. That might help you on the journey. Okay? But don't, one of the she values here is live up to yourself, no one else. Live up to yourself and no one else. And, have the permission to actually be you, because that's what people want. All this other stuff, that we have out there, the perfection and all those kind of things, look, you'll never do it. And you'll just become another one, another insurance agent, another accountant, another leadership coach. Go in and think about the thing that makes you unique is often you. Look, is this webinar going to be technically picture perfect? No, it's not. Do most people front up webinars wearing a sparkly shirt like I've got on? No, but this shirt makes me feel good because it makes me feel like I'm living in the land of the living with my silver and my gold stars. And I wear it every single webinar. I wear it. I look like I'm probably in a nightclub. I don't care because this is me, and this is about you being you. So when marketing doesn't work, it's because you're trying to be someone else. Another question that we had was, how do I stand out in a very, very crowded market? Well, again, that's the same answer to that. Dare to be different. Dare to be different. One of the things I think about, and our questions are a lot about digital. Digital's cheap for a reason. Digital is cheap for a reason, and it's cheap because you have it in your mind that it's cheap. The only thing that it cost us is time. Is time. Well, actually, digital done well is not cheap. When you've found out what makes you special and what makes you you, spend the time getting some really good quality images. Spend some time doing some really good quality video that shows you. Spend some time writing some copy and getting maybe someone to look over it to make sure it captures you, rather than going, oh my God, today I have to do a post, let's bang it out, and away it goes. When you feel like that, can you pause? Because you're doing more damage. Don't do anything. You are doing more damage. Okay? Invest in your assets. Invest in your execution, that they become you. And then they will break through all the crap. Because guess what? No one else has been to my webinar, so they're all just doing the crap. So you now have a chance to actually do some difference. So I hope I have answered some of those questions, customers, competitors, and you, and you've got some benefit from that. We're over me. We're now on to Renee. Renee, where are you, Renee? Okay. So Renee, some of the questions, I've got a couple of questions that came in, okay? So Renee, being our ads queen, how much do I spend on advertising online to get good results?
Okay, so one of the main things is don't just throw money and more money at it. It's not the most effective way. Obviously, these platforms are trying to make money out of you, so they're always going to ask you for more and tell you that you should be spending more. On average, we say between $10 and $15 per day is a good amount. And, you have different platforms. So you have Google ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, and any of the other ads that you want to look at. If you work on $15 per platform per day, that's a really good amount. Each of these platforms also have a lifetime bid or a lifetime budget that you can set. So say $300 for 7 days. Just make sure there's minimum bids and minimum spend on each platform, but $15 is the baseline. So that should get you to the results that you want to see.
So that'd be like $15 on Facebook, $15 on LinkedIn, $15 on Insta per day.
If you're going to spend it on all of them, if you know your audience is basically on LinkedIn and you're going to spend your money on one platform, then do it on the one where you know your audience is. So the duck shooting, go to where the ducks are.
Cool. Okay. What is the one thing a good digital advert, that's the thing that we all have to click on, has to have to give me leads?
A call to action. That's basically it. I see a lot of people putting out content and there's no call to action. There's a long spiel or there's a lovely little ad, but there's no call to action. What should I be doing? Do you want me to book now? Do you want me to buy now? Do you want me to read your blog? Tell me what you want me to do.
Right. And we put that at the end of the ad, do we?
You can put it anywhere in the ad as long as it's there.
As long as it's there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So guys, any questions for Renee later on, just please put them in the chat box. She's our ads queen. She can answer those. Okay. Thanks, Renee. Haley, where are we, Haley? Okay. Our words queen, our content queen. Okay. Oh, this is a bit of a lot. Remember, guys, emails are the currency of digital. To get an email is amazing. That's what we all possessed to get, right? Because as soon as you got an email, you can start talking to them. So email is, I kind of call it the digital currency. So a question for you, how do I grow my email list? That's a big one.
It is a big one. Okay, I'm going to take that from the point of content, growing an email list. So the main thing to think about when growing an email list is your regular content and ensuring that that is valuable and relevant to your audience. So that harks back to thinking about what their pain points are and how you can harness that. So these days, people generally won't just give you their email address for nothing. They're sort of either wise to the fact that that is a way that businesses grow their audience base, or they just don't want to be spammed. So the way to get around that is to ensure that the content you're offering them is valuable and relevant. 3 ways that you can do that is through your social posts. So when I say social, I'm meaning specifically whatever platform where your audience is, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and creating a regular strategic posting schedule. So that's not just sales posts, that's information, blogs, infographics, things like that really pinpoint the problem that your audience has and how you're going to fix that. The one thing to always include in those is a click-through link. So that would be clicking a click-through to your website or a landing page where they could then sign up for further information. So that's one way, an organic way to increase your email list. Another way is through video. So that's a very popular content style at the moment, and I specifically am talking about short form video, so around 30 seconds.
30 seconds?
Yeah. As a rule of thumb in marketing with video, you have about 3 seconds to draw your audience in before they keep scrolling. So it's really important that those first 5 to 10 seconds are very informative or drawing your audience in with something they want to know about. An advantage of video is that people do tend to like video as a form of social media content, and it's great for businesses as well because they generate a lot of engagement generally with minor investment. So, gone are the days when you need to have a big recording setup and a big camera and all that type of thing. You can literally do it on your phone. So that is definitely a type of content that can help to grow your list by then directing people through to a sign up after you've spoken to them directly on your video. And then the last piece of content that can be quite handy to grow an email list, and you've probably heard of this before or perhaps done it yourself, is incentives. So freebies, giveaways, competitions, prize draws, and lead magnets. So when it comes to email list growing, though, these are often overlooked because social following is usually the thing that giveaways and competitions are used to help to grow. But as a rule of thumb, email lists are more valuable than a social following. At the end of the day, you don't own your Facebook business page, Facebook does. However, you do own your website and your email list. So directing your audience from a social post for a giveaway or a prize draw or a lead magnet to your website to sign up to go into that prize draw or to part of the competition is a great way to also increase the list. Those are probably the 3.
So in summary, we've got video, incentives, and the first one?
Regular social posts, short form video, and incentives in the form of, doesn't have to be freebies. When I say freebies, I mean either like a giveaway or a lead magnet being a very specific piece of content that they would download that would help them in some way.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Got any other questions for Hayley? Make sure they're within the question. She's our words content queen. Okay, now Holly, Princess Holly, here we go, social media. All right, I think you may have told me this before. What time and how often should I post on social?
So this is kind of dependent on what your business is, but a good rule of thumb that we often tell our clients and stuff is to stick to the weekdays where possible. Avoid the weekends as much as you can. So aim for Tuesdays, Wednesdays, middle of the week is always a good time to post. And then we sort of say around 2 to 3 times a week is a happy medium for posts. And if you have more to share, we sort of direct people to stories, because stories was made for a little bit of the oversharing content, because you don't get penalized as much, not coming through spammy in any way. People really love watching stories on Instagram and Facebook, and LinkedIn has recently taken it up as well. So stories is a good way to post a little bit more than you would in your main feed. So
stories is more about your brand, isn't it?
Yeah, getting to know on a little bit more of a personal level.
Yeah. Okay. Now you're always going on about this with me, Holly. How important is it to include an image in my post? I'm always told I have to have photos all the time, guys. So this is my question, actually. How important is it, Holly?
Very important. The whole team agrees that we always recommend to use images where possible. Even when Hayley mentioned videos, just some sort of visual content will be, in a general sense, shared more, engaged with more. People will just be more interested in your content when you include some sort of imagery. So 100%, any type you can, include it.
Okay, well, we have a question here. Lorraine, we have a question. I think all the three of us could answer this. So if we post too much, like oversharing, more than the 3 times a week, and, Renee and Hayley helped me here as well, is it seen as spam?
I'll jump in on this one. So dependent on the platform, you'll see something like Instagram has a very short shelf life. So I don't know, 15 minutes or something until it's gone off someone's feed. Facebook is about 4 hours. Twitter is about 30 minutes. So if you're going to post something on someone's timeline in Facebook, it's going to sit there for longer. So if you're posting 3, 4, 5 times a day, the only thing that's going to happen is they're just going to unfollow or unlike your page. Something like Twitter, if you're posting 50 times a day, the likelihood that they're going to unfollow you is really small. So it's also dependent on the platform. From the platform side, if you're posting too much, they will penalize you and they will show your post less. So you'll also notice in your personal feed, you're not seeing every single person every single day. Even though they might be posting every day, you're not seeing it all. The algorithm is just showing you some people. And the more engagement that post gets, the more it's shown. So if people are liking it and they're sharing it and they're commenting on it, it's more likely to show up. So if you're just sharing other people's content all day long, probably they're not even seeing it. Holly, anything to add to that?
No, I think you covered it all. I think that's more what I was trying to say.
Okay, another question. Oh, Nikki. Hi, Nikki. Whenever I try and add images to my Google My Business page, it most often says they're not suitable. Any trick to finding images that they'll accept? And as much as I want to use my own photos, there's only so much I can do in a day. That's a good one, Nikki. Understand that pain, Nikki? Okay, who wants to answer that one?
I'll take this one as well. With Google My Business, once a week is fine to post on there. You can post pictures or video or just a little update. The best is to use images with commercial licenses. So anytime it is a license to a specific person, it will be kicked out. The format is also important. So it has to fit within the parameters of what they tell you. If you're unsure, you can click there and it will tell you somewhere on the page, it will tell you the size and the pixels and everything else. But the most important part is try to keep it original and stick to the formatting. So that's the short answer.
And did you say that they should be commercial as well, Renee?
Yeah. So things like if you're using Canva, the images in there are for you to use. You can use it anywhere. Things like if you're posting a video with music that is owned by someone else, it won't accept it.
Okay. Now I have a question on Canva. Hands up those that use Canva. Okay. The ones that don't use Canva, your life is about to be revolutionized. Someone's asked me what it is. Hayley, do you want to tell us what the heck Canva is and why they should be using it? I got to say, guys, it elevates your professionalism about 1,000%. Yeah. Princess Holly, she uses it every day as well. Yeah. Hayley, do you want to talk about Canva and what it is?
Yeah, so Canva is basically a platform that graphic designers absolutely hate. Because it's putting them out.
Turns you into one. It turns you into one.
Yeah, turning us all into graphic designers. So it's a free platform that has absolutely every type of template you could imagine that you would need to create content for social media across the board. I'm not just meaning Instagram posts. It will give you dimensions for stories. It will give you templates for stories, LinkedIn dimensions for the different things that you need for your profile. It probably has a setting for Google My Business listings too, actually. It can also create display ads. It really is a wonderful tool. And it's free to sign up. They do have a premium account as well, which gives you further access to some of their capabilities. But the amount of tools that they give you on their free setting is sufficient to start with, especially while you're learning. And you can even do things such as upload a PDF that you've already created, and it will slot it into a Canva design for you, so you can sort of polish up content that you already have, then release it all onto the various platforms you're on.
Very good. So, Holly, what does the paid version allow you to do?
It gives you more of a premium ability. So there's a lot more imagery that you can use. It unlocks a lot higher quality templates. It just sort of takes it to the next level. You can do a little bit more video editing if you wanted to take on that big giant, and you can do some web design through it as well. So there's just a lot more library of content to use.
Yeah. The other thing I'll add is with Canva, when you do have the premium subscription, which is $20 a month, and you can cancel at any time. I'm not a Canva affiliate.
So we don't sell Canva, guys. We don't sell Canva.
Is that the imagery that you can use, meaning all the photos and stock images that they provide, royalty free. So you're free to use those. There's no conflict there with copyright at all. So that's another thing that is fantastic about Canva.
Yeah. We've actually got it in the chat there. Check it out there. So it's look, for that, I don't know who said it in terms of their time, the time that it takes to do your marketing. Canva will give you back 3 hours. It will give you back 3 hours, yet double the professionalism. A bit like Xero, Karen, when I got Xero many years ago, gave me back 3 hours from my manual writing out my invoice trail. Yeah, so it's and we don't get any pushback, unfortunately, from Canva, or otherwise we'd all be rolling around in the dosh. So, but yeah, it's one of the questions that came up. Hayley, another one that did come up was about, and I don't know whether I shared this one with you, was around newsletters. It was around newsletters. Yes. And it said, what are the must-haves? I can't get anyone to open my newsletter. So what are some of the must-haves around, because we all have newsletters, writing newsletters. What are the,
I'd say there's probably 3 things that I would deem must-haves. If open rate is an issue, then the first must-have I'd be looking at is your subject line. So that is their first point of contact with your newsletter when it hits their inbox. If that doesn't draw them in or get their attention, then they're very unlikely to open it. It's the gatekeeper for your newsletter, essentially. You can find different tools online called, if you Google subject line generator or something like that, that you can test your subject lines out in, and it will give you a percentage rating of how likely it is to be opened. Rule of thumb is it's best to ask a question in a subject line. It's best not to be too salesy. And also sometimes there's a saying that sometimes the best way to sell a horse is to say horse for sale. So you don't need to get too clever with puns and words sometimes. Sometimes it's best to just tell them what's inside. With the newsletter itself, something that should be inside is links everywhere. So not just a call to action button at the bottom of the newsletter once they've finished reading it. Everything should have a link on it. I'm a big link fan. So all the imagery that should be in your newsletter, which is my third must-have, should link appropriately to somewhere else. One thing I always notice when I receive newsletters myself from various businesses I'm signed up to is that often I'll click on an image and it doesn't take me anywhere. And that's a missed opportunity to send your reader where you need them to go. So if you have a visual that's accompanying a blog in your newsletter, having the visual link through to your blog as well as the button is just another quick way for the user to get to the website. It's all about the user experience within the newsletter. And the links mean that they're not just sitting in their Gmail inbox reading a newsletter, because that's not what the point of a newsletter is. It's to generate traffic further afield to your website, to a landing page, to your social media.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, Hayley.
I was just going to sum that up. So the 3 points would be effective subject line, visuals, and links.
Yeah, look, I have to say, guys, headlines are so important in things like newsletters and even webinars. It's the thing that someone engages first with. And, one of the things about digital, you can change stuff. So it's not unusual for us. We'll segment our database and we'll actually test with them which heading gets the biggest open rates. So you can actually, that's the thing about digital, it is free, kind of, but we test different headlines and see what resonates most. So don't be afraid to do that. Do some testing and say, okay, I'm going to give this headline to this many people, and you'll just separate it out of MailChimp. I do it this for this many people and this for this many people, and just see whether it really, really affects. You've got to make them quite different to get any, robust results. But again, do some what we call A/B testing and see what gets you, the best results, because you can easily do that. And again, I'll go back to my first question, why my marketing doesn't work. It's because you're not registering the pain. People aren't seeing their pain in your solution. That's key. When people start seeing themselves in your headline and your pain, they will start resonating. Okay. Other than that, we're in a crowded market, and I give you a second to resonate. That's it. And if you don't resonate, I'm off. So it's worth really while getting really good headlines and getting really, really good copy. Got another question here. How often is too often for newsletters or emails to your list, your database? How often, is too often for newsletters or emails to your list?
I think it is dependent on industry and what the purpose of your newsletter is for. A lot of B2B businesses might send a newsletter quarterly as opposed to monthly. A lot of B2C businesses will do it monthly. And then I do have newsletters I receive weekly from...
Crikey.
Yeah. But they need to, with those type of newsletters that are being sent weekly, you're looking at short form style ones, and you need to be careful that you are offering something relevant that people do want to read. Otherwise, there's a chance you'll end up in spam.
Yeah. Can I say, from a very, very non-digital thing, send newsletters when you've got something to say. If you ain't got anything to say, don't send them. Okay, don't send them. I know my team say, but we've got to do regular, we've got to do all these things. And I know we need to do regular. But if I don't have anything to say to you, okay, of note, I mean, I've always got something to say, you know me, I've always got something to say, but if I don't have anything that's newsworthy, don't do it. We recently cut back on our Energize newsletter. We used to do it every month, and now we do it every 2 months because we've got more to say and we're getting far better engagement. So less is sometimes more. And you know, and please don't do a Christmas newsletter just to wish me Merry Christmas. Just send me a card. Okay, again, newsworthy. Oh, another one. Is there a suggested platform to use? Lorraine, is this in newsletters? Is this with the newsletters? Yeah. Well, we use MailChimp. Because I've always used it. I don't know if there's any. Is there a reason we use MailChimp? Or has it just always been there? I don't know. I've just always been there.
It's very user-friendly. MailChimp's extremely user-friendly. It's drag and drop. It's very intuitive to use when you're creating a newsletter. That's not to say there aren't other platforms out there that are quite similar, though every platform has its sort of differences. The most common is MailChimp. Obviously, there's HubSpot, and then there's also the smaller guys like Digital Stream. There's Klaviyo. It's much of a muchness. One thing that I would look at though is at what point does your list incur a fee to send your newsletter? So with MailChimp, the limit is 2,000 contacts on your database. If you have more than that, they're going to start charging you monthly. And every database has a slightly different limit.
Yeah. Yeah, so ours is free, isn't it? Ours is free. So, yeah. And I think from a non-digital perspective, guys, do think about what you want it to do, because our kind of worst client sometimes are those that want to do things like the big machines like HubSpot, you know, and they only want to use this much of it, a tiny little of it, and yet you're paying for this much. So I would really suggest you just start small. Everyone just start with MailChimp. It gets you into good. I mean, please, I do not have shares in MailChimp or Canva, but it just gets you into good habits. And then go from there. So I'm just going to get straight to the thing here. Yeah. Just start small if that's your there, and then grow from there. You'll learn some really good things within MailChimp, and then if you want to get bigger, you can get bigger. I mean, something like HubSpot. I mean, it tells you everything. It tells you, but those are for people that want to do great big marketing campaigns usually as well. So there we go. Oh, and we've got the link in here for MailChimp as well. So, and Holly's put the link in the chat for MailChimp and HubSpot. So there you go. What do I know? What's a usual good open rate? I don't know. What is it, Hayley? 5%?
Oh, this is going to sound like a typical marketing answer, but it does depend. And that is based on industry. So, and MailChimp actually has a feature when you sign up where you have to select which industry you fall into, and then it will give you the stats of what the standard open rate is for that industry versus what your open rate is. So, for instance, someone that's sending newsletters and their industry is like home and garden is one, you know, sort of interior design and installations and renovations and that type of thing. And the standard open rate sits at about 20%, which doesn't sound incredible. However, when you think about the type of companies that are probably in that space, they probably have quite large databases, and the larger your database, usually those percentages can fluctuate a little bit. But I think it's a great gauge to have there, because it stops you from stressing that maybe your percentage is much lower than it should be, and it gives you that expectation to work around.
Cool. Okay, well, you know, with all this feast of knowledge, imagine having known this a year ago, and how much further along you may be with all this knowledge, eh? So there you go. Look, we really hope that we have helped you so that you can do a better job. That was our goal of our webinar. So we really hope that we've helped in some way so your marketing can be, you know, more effective from both, you know, more a strategy point of view as well as a tactical point of view. Now, look, I do want to just talk about 2022. As I said to you, we're back. We're back doing face-to-face events. Isn't that amazing? Face-to-face events. So our first event is going to be on the 1st of May. And it is Helen Wave. Yeah. So it is going to be on time management. Okay. Because when I did my series of interviews, a lot of people saying, I'm juggling multiple balls. I don't know how to do it. And how the hell do you make a home office work? Well, I tell you what, I'm coming to your seminar, Helen, because I still don't know how to make a home office work. So our title is Effective Time Management for Ambitious Women, 5 Tips to ensure you achieve more every day. So that's on the 1st of March. You can register your interest on our website. Holly's going to put it down in the chat here. And yeah, we're going to love to hear you talking about time management, Helen, and also doing what she does best, which is connecting and supporting each other. That's really important. We are changing things up a little bit. We are going to put a little bit of a charge on our events, just because the numbers are getting a bit bigger. And so we're going to charge $10, and that includes the food, the cheese boards, the wine, the red wine, the white wine, and the orange juice, and the parking. We're just looking to cover our costs. If we make any money over our costs, we're going to give it to Women's Refuge. And we'll tell you how much we're going to give it at every event. Okay, that's all we want to do. We just want to cover our costs there. So you'll be able to do that online. You just go and just pay online when you register. So looking forward to seeing you there, Helen, in March. Now, just to show you that I haven't been just sitting around during lockdown, I have been busy because we have our speakers for April. So face-to-face April. Hand up Karen, hand up Nikki. Yeah, okay. So Karen and Nikki are going to be talking face-to-face about resourcing. So they're going to be talking about, Karen's going to talk a lot around technology and how to get the most out of technology. So you perhaps don't always have to have, you know, PAs, VAs, and admin assistants, or you might be able to get some stuff done through technology, and then leave the other bits of stuff. The other bits aren't so left behind for your person that you're going to hire to pick up. Nikki is going to talk a lot about your first hire. You know, that admin person, that VA, the PA, how to do it, why you should do it, and all those kind of things. And this came up around, if you're suffering from overwhelm, guys, quit doing it all yourself. The Wonder Woman Award has gone. Okay, 2022 is looking after you. So, and that's on the 12th of May. We've called it Outsource, Resource, or Continue to Tear Your Hair Out. It's over to you. So really looking forward to hearing from Karen and Nikki there. So I've been busy, eh? Look, we're right up to April. We're only in November. Look, as I close, remember the biggest thing you can do for a colleague or friend is, to shout them a ticket to one of our events. Remember, it's the best way that you can support, and you can let them connect with others as well. So it truly is a great Christmas present. So yeah, that's the biggest gift you can give someone, the gift of connection and support. As I said, this will be recorded. We'll send it out to you in the next couple of days. There'll be a little bit of a questionnaire to tell you how, get a little bit of feedback. Thank you, my energized team, the team. Your great work allows me to do this kind of work, and I do appreciate it. Have a great Christmas, a restful new year. And now after today's session, you're officially branded a mini marketer. How's that? Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.